All right, one of the jobs that every bus builder faces is what to do with the big holes on the roof once you start to remove exits and strobe lights and such. Well, I'm a real fan of sustainability, and I like that these galvanized side panels, roof panels are perfectly fine instead of going out and buying new material to cut out the eventual coverings for the roof openings. This is galvanized metal, galvanized steel, and the approach that I've used on cutting this is with an angle grinder. And one of the tips that I found is so amazing is just using some of this foam board. And you can see this one has a bunch of drill holes in it. But if I'm going to be drilling out a piece, I might do something like get a few of these as a platform for the piece, and then either drill into the crevice or just into the foam itself. When I'm doing the cutting with the angle grinder, instead of cutting into the foam, that makes it heats up the foam, kind of burns it. I don't think it's that safe of a gas it produces. So what I'll do is when I'm ready to cut something, I'll put the cut between something like this, so it holds it. And the great thing about this foam is that it's kind of sticky. And so once you put the metal on it and you're applying pressure and you're making your cuts, it doesn't move. It's almost as if it's clamped down a bit. So once we get the pieces back up to the roof, I'll take you through a little bit of installation of how I approached drilling the holes using the butyl tape and then ultimately sealing it up. And that's next. See you there. All right, this is one of the panels that I cut from one of the side sheets. You can see the drill holes are sort of nice and 2-inch spaced mostly. And I've already gone ahead and put the butyl tape on the back. Just once I get it on there, I just push it down, just kind of run over something kind of soft and plastic. That, and then this is going to ultimately cover not only this opening but these holes as well. So that's going to work like that. So first things first, let's go ahead and remove. I've already, oh, by the way, I have put a little bit of primer down on some of the raw edges that I had to smooth out. And I've cleaned it with alcohol as well. So it's pretty ready to go. And that will go on there, something like that. So first thing. It's pretty warm up here, so this butyl tape can be a little stubborn getting it to peel off, but once it gets going, it's pretty nice. Almost. There we go. I'm using 3/16 inch steel blind rivets. We like to use the blind rivets so no moisture can get through. I highly advise removing these emergency exits, especially if your bus is older. The old caulking is likely dried out, and if they're not leaking now, they probably will be soon. I can't imagine leaving these as is, building out the inside and having a leaky emergency exit destroy the ceilings and walls. Also, there's a chance for mold, at least for me, making replacing these an absolute no-brainer. And the process of removing them and covering them up with new material is not that bad a job. As you can see, once you remove the bolts, it comes out pretty easily. Just be a lot more careful on the top of the bus than me. Before you seal the holes, it is imperative that you do an adequate surface prep. I use a combination of surface grinders, wire brushes, and scrapers to get the larger debris first. And I always follow that up with a cleaning of the surface and any remaining grime with an alcohol wipe down. You can use other things, but I find alcohol, it's so widely available and it really does get the grime. Here's where these foam boards left over from the subfloor build out really come in handy. As you drill through the metal, the protrusions from the drilling process on the backside of the metal sheet work to hold the panel firmly in place while you drill. I also like using a piece for my knees. I decided to remove an extra row of rivets to firmly affix this panel. It was a pain, but totally worth it. Then one last wipe down and I'm ready for panel installation. I'm really happy with the decision to use the interior skins I removed from the walls and the ceilings. They are really good quality and galvanized. Take your time here and just enjoy the process. It is a lot of drilling, but I find these sort of meditative, overall great exercises for the body and good for the mind to lean into these types of repetitive tasks. And to say you did it yourself is maybe the best reward. When I started, I just used my hand riveter. I later bought an air rivet gun, which has made life way better. on these massive riveting projects. If you do a roof raise and or you remove the windows in place of RV style windows, the air rivet gun is a must. I'll put a link in the description of the one I have. I went through a few before I found one that holds up.